Congressman Barney Frank is chairman of the Financial Services Committee, and thank you for your time tonight, sir.
Welcome.
New York Attorney General Andrew Cuomo said today that asking the AIG bonus recipients to voluntarily give back at least half the money is simply too little too late. What is your reaction to Mr. Liddy's disclosure and the fact that he made it this morning?
Well, I'm glad he did it, but it doesn't stop us from having the obligation to go even further. To the extent that money is returned, that's a good thing. And I would compliment the people who did it. But as you just said, I believe that we should get the names. Mr. Liddy said he couldn't give them to me if they were going to be made public because he was afraid of threats to people. I told him I still think we should get them, but I did agree, I volunteered that I would check with the FBI. I don't think it allows these kinds of threats to deter us. My own view is that we should be filing a lawsuit. I think that's the best way to get these back. We, the federal government, have become, through the actions of the Federal Reserve, and I do want to stress, this initial intervention into AIG was not part of the Congressional Rescue Plan. Before we were even asked by the Bush administration to do the rescue plan, President Bush's two top economic appointees, Mr. Bernanke and Mr. Paulson, came to us and said, Mr. Bernanke, as head of the Federal Reserve, is going to lend $85 billion to AIG under a statute that dates back to 1932. He didn't ask us. He didn't solicit our opinion. He simply informed us. Since then, when we have voted, we have put tough conditions on. And, in fact, this won't be happening again. The conditions are so tough that there have been articles recently in the Washington Post and the New York Times from banks complaining that we've made the conditions so tough they're going to give us the money back. Well, I got to tell you, being threatened with getting our money back is the least frightening threat I've ever gotten. So I hope they'll send it back.
As far as the executives who are declining to give the money back and the information about that, you suggested, as you pointed out, that you might subpoena that information if need be. Fox News and Rush Limbaugh are accusing you of McCarthyism. Your reaction?
Well, I didn't know that Rush Limbaugh thought that McCarthy was a bad guy. That's probably one of the few times that either Fox News or Mr. Limbaugh have said bad words about John McCarthy. He's always been a right-wing hero. In fact, what McCarthy did was to falsely accuse people of things and to make guilt by association arguments or talk about their political associations in ways that were unfair. I'm simply asking for factual information about people working for a company that is mostly owned by the federal government and how much money they got. I'm not characterizing people one way or the other. The other thing I would say is this, and what I think we should do is, we're now the owners of this company, thanks to the Federal Reserve. I believe we should bring a lawsuit, and I've been arguing this to the Obama administration. We should bring a lawsuit, a shareholder suit. We are the major owners. These people got bonuses and didn't deserve it. These people got bonuses after having made terrible mistakes. And I don't think that the owners of a company ought to be compelled to carry out a contract which you assume was going to be beneficial to you when the people who are looking for the money mess things up. And I hope we would do that. I think that has the best chance to get all the money back. As I said, if people want to give all the money back, I salute them. If they give half the money back, that's better than nothing. But that's not a substitute for our asserting our legal rights as the owners of this company to get it back. And I do again want to stress, we have now written into all the future grants, so this won't happen again. But this was given out by the Federal Reserve before Congress acted, so there were no safeguards.
Earlier tonight, you met with Treasury Secretary Geithner. What came out of that meeting?
Well, I pressed Secretary Geithner and Mr. Summers, the President's Chief Economic Advisor, as I talked earlier today with another member of the White House staff, urging them to bring that shareholder lawsuit. You know, there are some problems if we as the federal government try to interfere with a contract between two other people, whether it's done statutorily or not. There's going to be an effort. But I think we're in a stronger legal position if we assert not that we, the government, have the right to break a contract that two private parties signed, but that we, the government, are as a party to that contract, asserting our rights under the contract. And I press that. The other issue, though, that's relevant is this. What we need to do is to keep these things from happening again, as President Obama correctly said tonight, as you quoted him. We've had this dilemma. When Lehman Brothers got in trouble, the Bush administration didn't do anything. It went bankrupt completely. None of the people it owed money to were paid. And that did cause serious economic problems. So because of that, when AIG was threatened with that, they said, well, we better bail them out. Because we have two opposite reactions. Let Lehman Brothers not pay anybody, have AIG pay everybody. Neither one was the best response. The problem is that we need to amend the law so that when a major institution like this that is not a bank, because they have rules for doing this when they're banks, when a major non-bank, an investment house, these collection of insurance companies with financial razzle-dazzlers on the top, When they run into trouble, we need to be able to step in as we would with a bank and unwind it in an orderly fashion. And that's what I was talking about with Mr. Geithner and Mr. Summers. How do we get legislation adopted that will make it less likely that we'll be in this kind of situation again?
In your discussion, did it come up, this disclosure from Senator Dodd tonight? He's suggesting that it's Geithner's Treasury Department, if not the Secretary himself, who is responsible for removing the restrictions on bonuses from the stimulus package, and where does that stand?
No, I didn't know about that. When the issue came up, I was not a member of the conference committee, and I did get involved in the House Senate conference because I was trying to protect some affordable housing projects.
Well, is this something that you will want to get testimony from then next week? I understand you have a hearing next week and trying to sort out.
We knew nothing about that. We were not engaged or involved. That was a Senate provision. We were not involved. We did do one other thing in the recovery package that I'm very proud of is under the Bush administration, they told the banks they had to take the money and they couldn't give it back. We changed the law to make it easier for banks to give the money back that they've received under the TARP program. Because when we got tough with them, they said, oh, well, we're stuck with this money. We said, if you don't like it, give it back. They said it's too hard. We've made it very easy. And I want to announce to them, the window is open at the federal government. Give the money back if you think we're being too tough on your compensation or your big parties or anything else.
Congressman Barney Frank, Chairman of the Financial Services Committee. Congressman, thanks for your time tonight. We appreciate it.
Welcome.